Seek First Ranch beef customers, this message is for you. I am in the side-by-side right now. I had to get out of the wind. We had a huge day yesterday. We moved our cattle, including our grass finishers, from one pasture on to the next. We move frequently. That's part of our regenerative practices. And so yesterday was a 4-mile cattle drive and it was awesome. It was a gorgeous day for that. So everything is looking great. We are on track for another fabulous beef year. And I wanted to pop on here and just answer a few of our frequently asked questions for those of you who still haven't had a chance to make your beef reservation yet. And if you have already made your reservation and you want to make any modifications to that, absolutely reach out to me. So below this message, I will put my contact information, the direct link for ordering, and we'll go from there. Okay, so first I want to touch on the processing locations. This year, we have 3 facilities. We have Beulah, and that one is already filled. We have, and so by the way, Beulah customers, if you're on here, if you have any specific questions for them, you can call Jesse or Kat or whoever answers the phone, typically over at the meat shop over in Beulah. You can give them a call and you can ask them your specific questions. The rest of you, because most of our slots are in New Salem and over in Moffat, I'm going to speak more in this message to that. Okay. So our 2 other facilities, we've got Spencer and his crew over at 6 and 1 in New Salem. That is about a half an hour west of Bismarck. And then we have the Schweitzer family, Schweitzer's Gourmet Meats over in Moffat. That is about a half an hour east of Bismarck, just to give you some context for location. And both places, all 3, fabulous to work with. We are loving working with them. And I do want to be really, really clear about something. So we raise the beef, right? And we'll talk about that in a little bit. The other 3 facilities, they do the processing for you. So they're working for you to do the processing. All of your processing requests are going to go directly to them. I want to be very, very clear and transparent. I can't speak for those businesses. So I know some of you have reached out and asked questions about different, technical things. I can't say for sure because they're not my businesses and I can't speak for them. What I can do is I can tell you what they've told me, and I'm happy to do that. And I told the 3 facilities, I was like, instead of you getting 40 different phone calls about the same thing, I can relay the information for you. I'm happy to do that. I just want you to know that what I tell you is not a guarantee because they have the final say because it's their businesses. Clear on that? Awesome. Okay, so we're going to talk about a couple of different things. First of all, price point and the differences there. And then we're going to talk about organ meats for those of you who want that. That'll come at the end of the conversation. So if you're an organ meat customer and you know the health benefits of that, stay here because I want you to tell you I've got something exciting. We've gotten those 2 facilities to be able to, they're willing to grind them for us this year. I know last year they wouldn't. For most of you, this year they will. So we're going to come back to that. So first, let's talk about price points. We here on Seek First Ranch, we believe in full transparency and we believe in quality. So as you know, we follow regenerative practices. I'll have the link below for what that looks like. And in most of our beef are kind of right around that 30-month age range. So I'm going to pause here for a second. Again, those of you who absolutely love T-bone steaks, if that's your absolute favorite, when you place your reservation with me, you'll see on the cart page, there's a place where it says add a note. Click on that and let me know that you want T-bones, because here's why. Animals over, this is just a legal thing. It says nothing to do with me, nothing to do with the meat shops. This is just a legal requirement. Beef animals over 30 months or over, they have to remove the backbone. Okay. And the only thing that affects is the T-bone steak because that's part of that T shape, right? So when that bone gets removed, the meat is still there. You're not losing the meat at all. But so for those of you who don't know, the T-bone steak, once you remove that T-shaped bone, the one longer side is the New York strip and the other rounder side is the filet mignon or tenderloin, just depending on how they cut it. It is just a different terminology, okay? So if you absolutely want that bone in there because you love the T-bone steak or porterhouse is another way to cut a T-bone, then put that in there and we'll do our best. I can't guarantee, but we'll do our best to get you an animal that's just under 30 months. Okay. Most of ours are right around 30 months or just over. So they're going to remove that T-bone. You can still get New York strip and filet mignon. Okay, so those are the all cut options. We stand behind our beef. It is going to be well marbled, tender. There is an absolute art to finishing grass-fed beef. My husband, he would never tell you this because he's just so humble, but he has it down. He takes such good care of creation. I am so proud of him, you guys. He just, it's such a labor of love, and he does it, and we do it as a family, and I'm just so proud of him. Okay, so I'm telling you, we stand behind the quality of our beef, and the all cuts option is a tremendous option for a really, really good grass-fed and finished premium beef eating experience. Okay. Now, for those of you who, we have some families that are like, oh my gosh, just give me all the ground beef. That's all I cook with. I just ground beef. That's such a staple, and I love it. We're here for that too. So when we have a beef animal that's like older than average, same health, like everything applies. The same regenerative practices, our same guarantee for health. The animal is robust, healthy, not sick, hasn't been treated with antibiotics. This is not to say, I want to pause here. This is not to say that we don't treat our animals when they get sick. We absolutely do what we need to. We use natural practices. Once in a while, if that doesn't work and we do need to treat something with an antibiotic, we absolutely will, but it's an acute thing. It's not a chronic thing. Does that make sense? And then those animals do not go into our grass finishing program. Okay. They serve a purpose. Absolutely. But they don't get turned into meat. Does that make sense? Okay. So again, full transparency. So when we have an animal that's just older, and so then the steaks just aren't going to be quite as tender, we're able to give you that at a different price point. Okay, so you'll see the two price points. It's $4.09 per pound hanging weight for the meat, for the all cuts, and $3.89 per pound if you want the ground beef special. Now, for those of you who want ground beef special, and this is explained in there too, but I know some of you just kind of breeze over it, or you prefer like just listen to me instead of having to read something. I totally get it. Okay, can you still, like, yes, if you get the ground beef special, you're still going to order it in quarters, by quarter increments. So 1 quarter, 2 quarters, 3 quarters, 4 quarters. You're going to have probably most of it ground into ground beef. But if you want to pull steaks, like tenderloins are going to be tender pretty much no matter what. You can absolutely pull tenderloins. We do when we have an older animal harvested for ourselves. You can also pull some roasts. If you want to do low and slow and you like a slow cooked shredded beef, I mean, absolutely. You can still pull steaks. Roasts. You can still pull the soup bone, of course. Like, you're going to get some really, really flavorful, like meaty bone broth if you want to do that. So you can still decide what cuts you want. It's just, again, we're going to give you a lower price point because you're not going to have like the steak tender marble, the steak tenderness. It's going to be well marbled. The fat's going to be tremendous. It's all going to be good, but you're not going to get the steak quality, right? So, okay, different price points. Now, sticking to that right there, if you want a whole animal, I have more wiggle room for you. So if you want a whole bulk beef special and you want to process at Moffat, I can do that for you. Absolutely. But for those of you who want to do a bulk beef special and you only want 3/4, half, or 1/4, then I do need to send you over to New Salem just because I got to puzzle piece that together. Does that make sense? Okay. If you have any other questions about that, reach out to me. And then the third thing I don't know what number we're on. We'll just say third, the organ meats. I promised we'd come back to that. Last year, I know so many of you understand the health benefits of organ meats. And spoiler alert, if you don't, I'm getting permission from the Stockman grass farmer, Joel Salatin. If you don't know who he is, look him up. He's the lunatic farmer. He's a pioneer in this industry. He's hilarious. I love him. He is the editor of Stockman Grass Farmer, a monthly publication. And they reached out to me last year sometime and asked if I would write. I'm so honored. They asked if I would write an article for them. And I said, absolutely, I want to write it about organ meat. So offal is the term, OFFAL. It's what falls off of the cow oftentimes gets, or any animal, right? It just, when processing, it's the stuff that typically just gets thrown away, but there's tremendous health benefits in all of that. So I wrote an article explaining it. I'm going to be getting permission so that I can share that article with you. If you're not sold on our organ meats, that's fine. I'm not here to sell you on anything. You can research it yourself. But for those of you who have tried our superfood blend, that's where we take the organ meats and have them ground up into a portion of our ground beef. Then you get the health benefits of those organ meats without really having to taste it or get the different texture weirdness, right? Whatever. Because for us, when we take that superfood blend is what we call it. That's our term here at Seek First Ranch. The organ meat blend. Other places might call it primal blend. You're getting the nutritional benefits, but when you mix it into something like spaghetti or tacos or meatloaf or something that's like lots of herbs or seasoning, you can't really taste it. So you're getting health benefits without having to taste it. If you want your organ meats ground up, both New Salem 6-in-1 and Schweitzer's over in Moffat, they will grind organ meats. They told me that they would. Now, they have the right to change their mind. It's not my business. I know 6-in-1 charges a bit of a surcharge. Spencer told me it was $40. That's just a cleaning fee. Moffat, they might charge just a little bit extra too. I don't know what those fees are. I can figure that out for you. But in my opinion, it's minimal. You can always do this yourself if you want to grind your own. But if you want the convenience of them to do it and package it and everything for you, that might be worth it. But the thing is, I need to know in advance. Organ meats, I have to know in advance because that's not actually included in the hanging weight. So you're not even paying for the organs, you guys, because it's not included in the hanging weight. But that's our gift to you because we hate waste and we know the value and we want you to know the value. Okay. So yes, you can get organ meats and you can get more than your share of organ meats. Why? Because they're not included in the hanging weight and you're not robbing somebody else of their beef. Does that make sense? So like, no, if you get a quarter, you're entitled to 25%. Let me explain this here right now. So take a beef animal. Okay. We're going to say this is the beef. When you get a half, okay, they're going to cut it nose to tail, right? In half. If you get a half beef, you get that whole half. You're entitled to that entire half. Wholes are obvious, right? You get the whole. Okay, but if you get a half, you get that half. Okay? If you get a quarter, you get half of the half. So we're not talking like quarters, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're talking you get a half of the half. So it's 25% of the entire beef. So it's half of that half. Are you with me? You can't just go to the other half and get more of their steaks or more of their roasts or more of their whatever. You still get your half. But what isn't included in that are the organ meats. Not all of my customers want organ meats, and we totally respect that. So like, if you know you want as much liver as possible, because you know there's B vitamins and tons of energy and A vitamins and everything, you know the health benefits of that, then you can have more than your fair share because I'll just partner you up with somebody who doesn't want theirs. Does that make sense? Okay, because it's not included in the hanging weight, you're not paying for it. That's a gift. What you might need to pay for again is if they grind it into your beef, and which is totally fair because that's a cleaning fee thing. Okay, so that was probably more information that I was going to get into. I don't want this video to get any more lengthy than this, but I'm just going to do just a quick recap. Again, we still have processing availability in New Salem and in Moffat. Both places will grind organ meats. Just let me know in the notes if that's what you want. If you know you want burger special, you absolutely can reserve that in quarter increments at 6-in-1. If you want a whole and you prefer processing over in Moffat, absolutely. Just let me know that and we can make that happen. And then yeah, I think that's about it. I will finish up by saying this. You will absolutely be hearing from me later on when it comes time to making your processing requests. We don't need to do that now. Okay. You will be able to do that, and I will reach out to you at least 2 weeks ahead of your processing date, which is about a month before your pickup date. So just so there's no confusion, we have a date, an actual scheduled date for us to drop off your live. We drop off the live animal as a courtesy to you. Okay. The dates that I've given you are your anticipated pickup dates. That's after the beef has hung in the aging cooler. Because typically they hang for anywhere from 10 to 18 days, depending on the facility. So about 2 weeks they'll hang and age. And then they will start to cut it up according to your processing requests. And then it needs at least a day or two or longer to fully be frozen. And then it'll be ready for you to pick up. Okay, so the dates that I've given you, that's what we anticipate will be the actual pickup date when it's cut, packaged, frozen, ready for you to pick up, take home, put in your freezers. Okay. Awesome. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I am so looking forward to serving you. And thank you for your patience with me, because if I didn't mention it before, this is like a giant puzzle piece, getting all these quarters and all these different dates to fit. All right. So thanks for your patience. Thanks for supporting us. Thanks for allowing us to raise your beef.